Good day, virtual learners. Welcome to the third session for reading and writing. I am Ma'am Ana Rose Alvaro from Wawampulo National High School, and I will be your reading and writing teacher for the day. For your attendance, just type your name, the name of your school, your section, and the name of your subject teacher at the comment section below. I will give you 1 minute to accomplish your attendance for today.
T-minus 1 minute. T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Okay, there you go. Thank you so much for your attendance. For today's session, we will be discussing critical reading as reasoning. Our most essential learning competency is explains critical reading as reasoning. Previously, we have learned how a certain text is interconnected to another text, which can be called as intertext or hypertext. In addition, we also found out the different functions of intertext and hypertext. And we learned that hypertext reading is more difficult than intertext reading because of information overload. The reader needs to recognize the accuracy of the information presented and evaluate it. Do you have trouble remembering what you have read? Do you read a paragraph and realize you have no idea what it said? Do you struggle with reading in general? If so, then critical reading is a skill that can help you. What is critical reading? Let us take a look at the Texas Chain Letter Massacre. If you don't forward this to 10 friends, something tragic will happen to you in the next 24 hours. Have you ever encountered such a message? Or did you ever receive such a message? What did you do? Did you believe it right away? Or did you send it to others? Why? Write your answer on the comment section below. Your time starts now.
T-minus 1 minute. T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Alright, thank you for those who responded. The man here is being forced to forward this message because he doesn't want anything tragic to happen to him in the next day. Nothing ever really happens. However, the cartoon is successful at showing how force has an effect on you. This is where critical reading comes in. If you had scrutinized this kind of message, mostly you wouldn't believe and just disregard it. When we read, most of us, we simply sit down and start reading. That is called passive reading. On the other hand, critical reading is active reading. It means to interact with the text while you read it. This is the summary of the differences between reading and critical reading as to purpose, activity, focus, questions, directions, and response. In plain reading, the purpose is just to get a basic grasp of the text through absorbing and understanding, while in critical reading, its purpose is to form judgments about how a text works by analyzing, interpreting, and evaluating. Plain reading focuses on what a text says by merely answering what is the text saying or what information can I get out of it. On the other hand, critical reading focuses on different kinds of questioning in which it goes against the text rather than with the text. It is dissecting a reading material by different kinds of questions. When it comes to response, critical reading is more on describing, interpreting, and evaluating, rather than just summarizing. As we have observed, critical reading means that a reader applies certain processes, models, questions, and theories that result in enhanced clarity and comprehension. There is more involved, both in effort and understanding, in critical reading than in a mere skimming of the text. So what are the goals of critical reading? Prentice Hall enumerated critical reading skills. First, the ability to distinguish between facts and opinions. Second, the ability to identify the author's purpose. Third, the ability to make inferences. Fourth, the ability to recognize the author's tone. And fifth, the ability to recognize persuasive techniques. These goals enable you to read critically. How do you know if it is critical reading? Well, it is critical reading if you examine the information presented, when you are able to evaluate given arguments as fact or opinion, when you can advance your understanding on the composition of the text and not just taking the ideas given. What does it take to be a critical reader? Here are 5 specific strategies. First, skimming ahead and jumping back. Second, highlighting or underlining keywords and ideas. Third, looking up unfamiliar vocabulary words. Fourth, recording your questions and comments. Fifth, looking for clues throughout the text. First one, skimming ahead and jumping back. Skimming ahead enables you to see what's coming up. Before you begin reading, scan the text to see what's ahead. Is the reading broken up into sections? What are the main topics of those sections? In what order are they covered? What keywords or ideas are bold-faced, bulleted, boxed, or otherwise highlighted? Skimming through a text before you read helps you prepare for your reading test. If you know what's ahead, you know how to pace yourself. This head start will give you an idea of what's important in the passage you're about to read. When you finish reading, jump back. Review the summaries, headings, and highlighted information. This includes what you and the author highlighted. Jumping back helps you remember the information you just read. You can see how each idea fits into the whole and how ideas and information are connected. Now, just to test yourself, skim ahead through the Quarter 4 module in reading and writing. What are the main topics covered in Quarter 4? Write your answer on the comment section below. 3-minute time starts now. Alright, good job learners! Second strategy is finding keywords and phrases. In any text, some facts and ideas are more important than the others. To be an active reader, you need to identify key ideas. By highlighting or underlining the keywords and ideas, you'll make important information stand out. You'll make it easier to find that information when you want to write a summary or study for an exam. Of course, to highlight keywords and ideas, you must be able to determine which facts and ideas are most important. Ask yourself, what's the most important information to understand and remember? Here are 2 guidelines for highlighting or understanding a text. First one, be selective. If you highlight 4 sentences in a 5-sentence paragraph, you haven't helped yourself at all. The key is to identify what's most important in that passage. Ask yourself 2 questions. First, what is the author trying to say, and what is the main idea of his or her passage? And second one, what information is emphasized or seems to stand out as important? Second guideline, watch for clues that indicate an idea is important. Words and phrases like most important, the key is, and significantly signal that key information will follow. Watch for visual cues too. Let us have a practice. Find out the most important information on the paragraph and write it in the comment box below.
T-1 minute. T-50 seconds. T-40 seconds. T-30 seconds. T-20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Okay, I can see that some of you get the correct answer. Thank you for responding. You should have pointed out the following as the most important information in the paragraph. The first underlined sentence is important because it explains why the wind chill factor exists. Notice that the second underlined sentence begins with the signal phrase, "This is important." This tells us that this fact is significant and should be highlighted. Third strategy is look up unfamiliar words. Looking up unfamiliar word is another very important reading strategy. You need to know what the words mean to understand what someone is saying. Whenever possible, have a dictionary with you. Circle and look up any unfamiliar words right away. Write the meaning in the margin. That way, you won't have to look up the meaning again if you forget it. It will always be there to refer to. If you don't have a dictionary with you, try to figure out what the word means. What clues does the author provide in that sentence and surrounding sentences? Mark the page number or write down the word somewhere so you can look it up later. See how closely you were able to guess its meaning. The fourth strategy is to record your questions and comments. As you read, you're bound to have questions and comments. you're so likely to have reactions to the reading. You might wonder why the author used a certain example, or you might think a particular description is beautiful. Write your questions and comments in the margin or on a separate sheet of paper if the book is not yours, using the code that follows. So this kind of note-taking keeps you actively involved with your reading. It makes you think more carefully about what you read, and that means you will better understand and remember the material. Here's an example on how you might respond to the wind chill factor passage. Fifth strategy, looking for clues. We've already mentioned the word clues a couple of times in this lesson. That's because good readers are alert like detectives. They don't read just to get through a passage. They pay careful attention to words and details, much like Sherlock Holmes would do if he were solving a mystery. Detectives look for clues that will help them better understand the writer's ideas. These clues come in many forms. It can be specific words, choice and details, repeated words or phrases, and the structure of sentences or paragraphs. The key to finding these clues is to look carefully. Be observant. As you read, keep your eyes open. Look at not just what the writer is saying, but also how he or she says it. Notice the words he or she uses. Look at how the ideas are organized. Being observant is essential for reading success. People draw conclusions or make inferences about what they read, and sometimes these conclusions are wrong. Usually, this means that they just didn't read carefully enough. They didn't notice the clues the writer left for them, and they based their conclusions on their own ideas. But conclusions should be based on the ideas that are there in the text. To synthesize today's lesson, the practical starting point of every critical reader is to question everything he or she reads, which means that a critical reader should not blindly accept all the presented facts without further examination. That way, it requires the reader to examine the content, validate the details, and evaluate the information. The reader applies reflective skills in reading the text, resulting to reasoning, the intellectual analysis of information. So I'm sure that now you are ready for our last activity. For this activity, you are just going to answer true or false. Type your answer on the comment section below. Let us start. Number 1. Passive reading is a kind of reading in which the reader applies certain processes, models, questions, and theories that result in enhanced clarity and comprehension. The correct answer is false. Number 2. The purpose of plain reading is just to get a basic grasp of the text through absorbing and understanding. The correct answer is true. Next number. One of the goals of critical reading is the ability to distinguish between facts and opinions. The correct answer is true. Number 4. Using a dictionary is the only way that can help you find the meaning of unfamiliar words. The correct answer is false. And number 5. Note-taking keeps you actively involved in your reading. The correct answer is true. So, we're done. How many of you got the correct answers? Did you get all the correct answers? Hopefully, this exercise opened new appreciation that reading takes deliberate engagement. Don't allow yourself to sit passively with books or articles in hand. In order to fully appreciate a piece of writing, you must digest it and come to your own understanding. So that will be all for today. I hope that you learned and you remember the important details of the lesson. Once again, this is Mom Ana Rose Alvaro, leaving you with this reminder from Proverbs 16 verse 3. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and your plans will succeed. Happy learning!